It was a quiet night, deep in the woods, a celebration at a grill hut that had brought together old friends. Laughter filled the air as the smell of grilled meat lingered in the cool breeze. But what started as a night of joy soon turned into something far more terrifying. As the night wound down, the partygoers began to leave, one by one. Among them was a man who had no reason to feel fear in these woods. After all, he'd taken the forest path countless times before. Leaving the safety of the grill hut behind, he took the familiar shortcut through the woods. It was a path he'd walked since childhood, but that night, something felt different. The trees seemed to close in, and the wind whispered strange things through the leaves. It was too quiet, no rustling leaves, no chirping insects, just the sound of his own footsteps echoing unnervingly. And then, out of the blackness, he saw them, eyes, watching. At first, he thought it could be a deer, or perhaps a wild boar. But the eyes didn't move. They just stayed there, glowing, watching him with a cold intensity. His hands trembled. Whatever it wasn't afraid of him. And then, without thinking, he ran. He sprinted through the woods, branches clawing at him as if the forest itself wanted to hold him back. But he didn't stop. He couldn't stop. Something was behind him. It wasn't until he reached the village lights that he dared to stop. Panting under the first street lamp, he turned back toward the forest. The eyes were gone, but the darkness remained, watching. The rain began to fall, cold drops grounding him back in reality. But even then, he couldn't shake the feeling. Those eyes. Whatever it was, it had watched him, and it wasn't afraid. He never saw those eyes again, but they were there, in the back of his mind, waiting, watching. And he knew that whatever they belonged to, they weren't finished with him yet.